7-game suspension. Those stories all ahead. We begin, though, in Boston. Best team in the NBA so far, Kevin Garnett, the Boston Celtics. But, guys, not the big three's best night. They got a lot of help.
Great drive down the middle by Rondo. If he plays like that, the Celtics are going to be a tough out for anybody.
And for the most part, he did. Thought he was playing like that here, but look at Sean Williams out of nowhere. Woo.
Oh, wow, that was a great draft pick by New Jersey.
In the fourth, Garnett and Paul Pierce going to the bench. Garnett had foul trouble in this game. Other Celtics getting it done, including Big Baby.
Great hands, hand-eye coordination, come up with the block there. You talked about earlier, Jalen, the fact that they got great production. Job of distributing and learning how to play the point guard position at the professional level.
Ray Allen started the break. Rondo to James Posey for the three. Celtics on a 10-0 run without Garnett. Rondo passes to Paul Pierce. Antoine Wright caught peeking.
The great thing about Paul Pierce is he's a scorer, but he's a willing distributor. And Paul Pierce is a guy that can hurt you in a lot of different ways.
That's a big word, willing distributor. I like
willing distributor. I think it's actually 2 words, but you know,
you have to go there.
That's getting picky. That's what that is. Rondo had 13 points, and folks, the Boston Celtics are 7-0 for the first time in 35 years. That 72-73 team went on to win 68 games. Hi, everyone. It is NBA Fast Break. So glad you could be there. I'm Matt Weiner. I believe you've already met Jalen Rose and Greg Anthony, a couple of former Knicks here, and like Stephon Marbury, who was back with his teammates in Los Angeles a day after leaving from Phoenix, abandoning the team. He got fined about $195,000, returned and talked it over with his coach, Isaiah Thomas. Backed down by Coutinho Mobley. Marbury gets a hand on it and finishes on the other end. He got in 9 minutes into the game.
Who says Marbury doesn't play defense?
Well, Isaiah Thomas more or less said that, but in this case, he certainly did. Didn't start again in about 9 minutes into the game. Second quarter, Knicks up 2. Marbury on the break ahead to Jamal Crawford, leaves it for David Lee. And the Knicks all working together.
Looked real good the first half.
David Lee does have a left hand.
Third quarter was abysmal for the Knickerbockers. Zach Randolph just back with the team. No. Eddie Curry, Marbury,
Do you know how many shots they missed in a row in the third quarter?
I actually do, but please.
I'm going to guesstimate at about 17.
17 straight, to be exact, in the third quarter. They were 2 for 19 in the quarter. They missed the first and the fourth as well, by the way. Less than a minute left.
Coutinho called the bank, by the way.
Mobley posts up Marbury there after the Marbury miss, and then Crawford missed on the 3. Fred Jones got the start for Marbury in the lineup. He finished with 6 points. Marbury's official line, 34 minutes, 4 of 12 from the field. He wound up with 13 points on the night. All right, fellas. Jalen, much has been reported on this story already. Marbury left the team. He went to New York. He crisscrossed back across the country, came back to join his team. But there's more than has been reported so far.
Yes, definitely, Matt. It's been much talked about Marbury going back and forth from Phoenix to New York, etc. But a lot of people, someone within the Knicks organization basically let me know that there was a physical confrontation between Isaiah Thomas and Stephon Marbury on the airplane going to Phoenix. In turn, that's what led to Marbury waking up the next morning and deciding that Isaiah told me I had the permission to go back to New York, so I'm going back to New York.
That's a huge development. How does that change the dynamic of this team moving forward?
I think, to be honest, it doesn't change the dynamic of the team because the players are resilient. They're going to welcome him back. If he plays with effort, if he shows those guys that he wants to be a part of the team, they understand that situations happen. And you see tonight they were high-fiving. They were trying to get back into the game, and he was a big part of that, Greg.
You know, and the bottom line is this. It's all about production and winning. If the New York Knicks can figure out a way to start winning basketball games, all will be forgiven. But if they don't, all of the animosity and anxiety that they carried over from the offseason is going to continue to build, and that frustration is what leads to blow-ups like you had between Stephon and Isaiah Thomas. That's really what it all boils down to. Losing brings misery and frustration, and these are all prideful people. And when you put them in a situation where things aren't going well, they're going to lash out. And that's what happened with two guys who are very friendly, not just on the court, but away from them. These guys are neighbors. They live near each other. Their families associate with one another. This situation right now is going to be difficult. They got two very difficult games left on the road against Sacramento and then at Denver. They got to figure out a way to get a win, and that will give them some goodwill and some harmony. Otherwise, it's only going to get worse.
Stephon Marbury knows he's the marquee player on that team, and I can almost guarantee he will not be happy coming off the bench. That's going to be the key, how he adjusts to maybe coming off the bench or maybe being in the starting lineup.
And, folks, it is mid-November. Got a long ways to go here. Again, the Knicks will play at Sacramento on Friday. Stephon Marbury not the only one getting negative press these days. Phil Jackson in the rare position of having to apologize for a public misstep. Jackson said he deserved the reprimand he received from the NBA after some statements of a sexual nature he made concerning his team's performance in San Antonio Tuesday night.
Basketball 101, they're getting penetration, so those guys are being left open outside?
Yeah, we call this a Brokeback Mountain game because there's so much penetration and kickouts. So, you know, it's one of those games.
Of course, Brokeback Mountain, the movie about a gay relationship between male cowboys, if you're not familiar. The remarks are in poor taste, and the Lakers have assured us such remarks will not occur in the future. That from the league. And this from GLAAD, a gay and lesbian organization. Phil Jackson's been coaching long enough that he should be able to talk about the Lakers' performance without resorting to cheap gay jokes. So Wednesday, Jackson issued an apology of sorts.
My attempt to be humorous, which was using an alliteration last night, was greeted with some humor by the journalists and the people that were around me covering the ball game. I'm not Jay Leno or David Letterman. I'm not a comedian. I'm a basketball coach, and trying to bring levity to the situation probably doesn't work when it's pulled out in retrospect. And I want to thank ESPN for doing that and making an issue out of this. And if I've offended any Cowboys, any Texans, any horses, anybody else that would be offended by these comments, I want to apologize.
I guess that's an apology.
That's classic material.
Lakers in Houston on Wednesday night. Kobe Bryant baseline.
Oh, give me that.
Coming to get Yao Ming.
There's something about big men in Texas and Kobe with that left hand.
Tuesday night it was Tim Duncan, then it's Yao Ming. Tracy McGrady fouled by Kwame Brown. Runs into Luke Walton here, hurts the right elbow, and this is troublesome. Sprained elbow is what they're calling it. Shooting the free throw left-handed there. No problem there. The bigger issue is McGrady had to leave the game. This was before halftime, and he would not return. More on him in just a moment. Third quarter, Rockets getting to work without T-Mac. Fonzie Wells in the turnaround. They cut the Lakers' lead to 65-56. Wells to the rim.
Fonzie Wells is one of the best post-up guards in the NBA. And he's driving to the basket. He's virtually unstoppable once he gets going.
It's 77-all at that point. Kobe off the screen, 11 of 23. He had 30. Lakers up by 4. Less than 10 ticks left. Shane Battier on the 3. No. Gets his own rebound to Wells. He'll miss the 3. Yao's under there. Fouled inexplicably by Jordan Farmar with 1.4 seconds left. So he's got to miss and get it out to Rafer Alston, who had a look.
You couldn't diagram it any better than Yao Ming executed it. Unfortunately, Rafer not able to finish it off with the 3 at the buzzer.
I don't know that I've ever seen that play done better than that.
I've never seen it.
It happens multiple times tonight. Y'all did a great job of execution. I know he would have loved for Rafer Alston to knock down the 3.
Yao had his 6-20-10 game of the season, but the Lakers win it 93-90. The news on T-Mac again, a strained right elbow. They expect him to miss about a week's worth of time. Still ahead out on the break. Dwight Howard and LeBron James both at their best in Cleveland. See how James handled 2 late-game pressure cookers. News flash. Dwayne Wade in uniform and ready to play for the Heat will show you his long-awaited season debut. Different circumstances, same story for Ron Artest. How the controversial King fared in his first minutes of this 07-08 NBA season.